The gentleman is recognized for 4 minutes.
I thank Mr. Paulson for yielding, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank both Mr. Paulson and Mr. Pascrell for their support and for the energy that they put and effort they put behind this legislation. As I was sitting here waiting for my turn to speak, I was thinking to myself, I'll be 66 years old here in a few weeks. So half of my life, 33 years, was in law enforcement. It kind of stunned me for a second. But I've been in Congress now 11 and a half years, and I found that there are some very, very good friends here in Congress that support law enforcement. This is not a partisan issue. Mr. Pascrell and I have been great partners as co-chairs of the Law Enforcement Caucus, and he is a valiant fighter for law enforcement, firefighters, all first responders, and we make a great team. As you can see, there are others that have joined us here today. In my 33 years, Mr. Speaker, I've had the opportunity to work on patrol, to search for kids in that moment in time where you get a call to a shopping mall and a mother has turned her head for a minute, or a father has let go of the hand of the child for a second and turned around and the child is gone. And the panic in their eyes and in their, you can just see the fear in their face. But a few minutes later, they're found wandering around in a toy shop or hiding somewhere, playing hide and seek. But they had their child back within minutes. But, Mr. Speaker, there are other families who aren't so fortunate that have had the honor of meeting, where their child has been missing for years. Some are fortunate enough, Mr. Speaker, to get their child back. I've been at the other end of that, where you search and you find. I found a young man up in the mountains of Alaska who had been taken by his father and whisked away in an old camper and hidden in the mountains of Alaska. We found him safe and returned him to his mom. But, Mr. Speaker, I've also had the sad experience of finding a missing child dead. I've had to be the one who went to the home and notified the mom and dad. We found Cindy, but she's not alive. Someone killed her. These are tough cases. When I was working these cases, I would say to the family, we are going to get your child back, and we will find the person responsible for taking your child. And when I was a detective, I said the same thing. We are going to be tough, and we will find you. Today, with this federal legislation, we are even saying it stronger, in stronger words. Now the local law enforcement agencies have the power of the federal government. That information that we needed back in the day when I was an officer on the street or a detective on the street, I didn't have. But today, we're going to give them that power and authority, and the message today is those who take children from their homes, those who take children off the streets, we will find you. We will find you. Because I don't want police officers knocking on a door and telling a parent that their child won't be coming home. When I was a detective in the task force, the Green River Task Force, 30 seconds.
You have the gentleman an additional 2 minutes.
The gentleman is recognized for an additional 30 seconds. Additional 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Paulson. I worked on a case called the Green River Task Force. We solved over 2,000 missing women and young women and girls missing cases over that period of time. We solved 51 murders. And we worked closely with the families. Those detectives that went home every night did not go home and stop thinking about these cases. And I know that every one of those detectives and every one of the families involved in that investigation today appreciate the action of Mr. Paulson, Mr. Pascrell, and all those who supported this bill. Because I know families that actually kept their child's bedroom exactly the way it was the day they went missing for 5 or 6 years. They didn't change a thing because they always have hope that their daughter or their son will be coming home until the door gets a knock and the officer arrives, says, "We found little Johnny," or little Johnny won't be coming home. Mr. Speaker, I urge everyone to support this legislation, and I appreciate so much the action by